Hey, I'm Anita. I'm only going to do a short session and I'm going to use some props, but just props that you can use from home. So the only thing that I've got that some of you might not have is maybe a yoga mat and some blocks. The rest of the equipment that I'm going to just use today that you will be able to use as well are some cushions and a chair. So that's all you need. You're just going to relax, open up. The poses are very quiet. You can hold them for as long as you like. Also, even though they don't seem like they're doing much, they're doing quite a lot. So this whole little session is about opening up the lungs so that the breath has space. Okay, so we're going to start off with a pose called Supta Baddha Konasana. Which means basically bound reclining pose. I've only got these little small cushions, so you just use whatever is available to yourself. I'm just going to show you how to use them now, and you can stay there for as long as you like. This is just a lovely pose to do even if you're tired. If some of you are still working and you just want to come home and just relax for 10 or 15 minutes before you do anything else, this is a really lovely way to do it. Some of you might need extra props to this. I'll show you in a moment. I'm going to use a yoga belt. If you have one, that's great. Otherwise, any belt will do, or a tie. Just don't tie it too tight that you can't get out. So basically, you sit in front of your cushions and just bring your buttocks right up to the cushions. Bring the soles of the feet together. Okay, I'm just going to put the yoga belt on. So you want it round, just going to move forward a little bit, round right down in the lower back, down towards the tailbone and into the groins, and then round under the feet. So, and then just pull it, not tight, just so that it's firm. So I'll just quickly whiz around this way so you can see how I've done that. So it's under the feet and round under the back. I told you there'd be noises. So we're just going to put the buttocks there. Cushions are in place. You'll need just a little extra height for the head. So tuck the tailbone under and lie back. Just bring the cushion, or an extra, if you've got a blanket, just bring that in closer there. So tuck the tailbone under so the buttocks and the tailbone move away. The chest is nice and open. The head's relaxed, throat soft, arms just to the side. Okay, so you can stay there 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and just breathe. So just let your whole body relax into the support. It's actually a really comfortable position. If you find it really hard, some people find this a bit strong in the groins, you can just get some blocks or extra cushions and just put them there to support that. Takes the strain off the groins, because this pose at the moment is a relaxing restorative pose, so we're not going to overstretch, and just relax. So you can see this position, the whole front body is open, so let the belly soften, the front ribs are able to open up, and the top chest. So this is a really good position to just relax and breathe. And if some of you know how to do breathing exercises, pranayama, this is a very good position to do it in. So just lying here, if you do want to do a little bit of breathing in this pose at the beginning of the session, just let the breath be normal, just follow your own breath, so don't force it, just follow it. So you can follow your in-breath all the way down, imagine it coming all the way down to the pubic bone and then all the way back up and out, but don't actually force the breath, so just normal breathing. So you can just follow it in. and following out. Okay. When you've been there for as long as you feel comfortable, just bring your hands to the side and just gently push yourself up, bring the buttocks back, release any props that you have, release your belt. Okay, and then bring the knees together and up you come. So now what we're going to do, I'm just going to move the cushions to the side, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use a block for this. Actually, I might use the chair. So first of all, we're just going to, we've been lying backwards, and as with all yoga poses, you do a counter pose. So now you're going to put your toes together, so toes touching. If you can't sit back on your heels, that's fine, just get your toes touching to start. Draw the buttocks back as far as you can, tuck your tailbone down, and then slide the hands forward, spread the fingers. Arms are nice and straight, and then let the head come down. Now some of you might not be able to get the head to the floor, so what we're going to, and also even if you can, because this is quite a restorative session, you actually putting your forehead on the brick is a very good idea. So you can just bring the brick forward, rest the forehead. Once you've stretched the arms out, you just bring the arms back, let the elbows rest, let the head rest. And just again, just breathing. You'll find as you sit there, your body will start to release forward a little bit more, so you just need to move your head support, whether it's cushions or a brick. Just on the forehead, don't stick it, don't suffocate yourself on a cushion. So just resting there, and just again breathing. So make sure the throat is soft, the jaw's relaxed, neck soft, throat soft. Let the shoulders relax, and just breathing there. Again, you can stay there for a minute or two. This position, going forward with the heart facing down toward the ground, is very restful for the heart. So if you stay there for a while, it's actually quite good for you. So the longer you can stay in that position, the better. And also having the forehead resting on a support, having that pressure on the forehead actually quietens the mind a little bit more. Stops the frontal lobe where all the thought goes on, so it tends to quieten that down, rests the heart, and stretches the lower back. Okay, once you've been there for as long as you feel comfortable, if you want to stay there, you can stay there. It's not a pose that you have to worry about staying in there very long. Then you're going to come up, just turn my hair back. You're going to come up and do a pose called Uttanasana, forward bending. Now, if you've done yoga before and you're reasonably flexible, you can just use, you want your feet hip width apart. Make sure you have your whole foot touching the floor. So you want from the base of the big toe, little toe, inner heel, outer heel, the whole foot, feel the whole foot on the floor. So watch you're not going too far forward into the balls of the feet or too far back into the heels. You don't have to straighten the knees. That's not absolutely necessary. What's important is that the feet are firmly down. The buttocks don't lift right up because that tends to dip in the lower back here. So what you want to do is actually draw your tailbone down and under so your hip bones come forward. And then what spreads from the inside of the thigh out to the outer thigh. So it's the buttock crease. We call it the buttock crease. So basically you want it to spread from in here outward. Yeah. So, okay. So you might need a little bit more height. Some of you might need a little bit more height. So Rest the forehead like so. Again, just make sure the whole foot is flat on the floor, that opening up at the buttocks there, and then just arms soft, resting there. Tailbone down, buttocks spreading. Or for those of you who even find that a little bit strenuous, you can then use a chair. Again, feet hip width apart. Rest forward. Just make sure you're the right distance from the chair. Again, whole foot firmly down. Broadening here, tailbone down. Resting the head, the forehead. Resting there. Arms relaxed. Okay, then bend your knees, tailbone down, come back up you come. Then hands down, step the feet back. But actually, just to measure your dog pose, this is a good way to measure the right distance for you in a dog pose, is to have your toes touching, knees apart again like we did before. Stretch the arms forward. Spread the palms, complete full stretch of the palms, turn the index finger to face forward, press the whole palm down into the floor, and then lift the buttocks up, turn your toes under so your feet are hip width apart, and then come up onto your tiptoes, and then the heels release back. So the heels don't need to touch the ground, they just need to release back. So balls of the feet firmly on the floor from the big toe to little toe, and then extend through the whole foot toward the heel. Tailbone down, so again that's spreading inner thigh to outer thigh that we did before in the forward bend. And then elbows in, don't scrunch the neck up, keep the shoulders broad at the top, draw the inner shoulders up and back. And then to come down, knees apart, toes together, and then you come. And then back up. Okay, you can do that pose once more, just to get another bit of a stretch. And then from there, from dog pose, we're going to just come back onto the buttocks now for some forward bends. So sitting on your buttocks, having both legs out straight to start. We're going to do a cross-legged, just a very gentle twist. Okay, not to overstretch the body, so just a very gentle twist, just to not stimulate, because twists can stimulate, just to gently stretch, as I said. So we're not going to, nothing here, we're not pushing anything, we're just taking it as it comes. Just feeling what the body's doing and breathing with it. Okay, so first of all, you're going to, when you bend the knees, always remember which foot's in front, because you have to swap over, as always with yoga. You do both sides. So, but what I do is I just get my hand behind the knee and roll the thigh out, or get your thumb behind the knee and roll the calf out. Actually, rolling the calf out is a bit easier. And then the same on the other side. And I'm bringing the right leg in front because then I know the next, that I've always done it that way. So I'm just going to turn around to the front so you can see that. So I'm going to roll that calf out, bring the foot in, roll that calf out, bring that foot in. Okay, and then just come up. Make sure that the feet, they don't have to be right under the knees like so, but don't have them just crossed at the ankles. You need them to come in a little bit more than that. Okay, and then pull the buttocks out so you're sitting up nice and straight. Okay, so we're going to go from there. I'm going to take a brick and just put that behind me. Okay, so this is just to stretch the body out a little bit before we start to just relax down a bit more. So interlock the fingers, turn the palms out, inhale the arms up, and then exhale. Buttocks down, elbows in, draw the back ribs in, Inhale again, and then exhale, bring the arms down. Take the left hand to the right knee, right hand behind. Now when you twist, you always twist from the waist. Never twist from the pelvis. Okay? You don't want to twist the pelvis because that will really upset the lumbar. So hip bones facing forward, hand to your knee, other hand behind you. Inhale, lift up, so you lift out of the spine, and as you exhale, just gently turn from the waist. You want this armpit forward, so don't roll that shoulder forward, roll it that way. Breathing there. And release. And then you do the same on the other side. Hand to that knee, hand behind. Inhale, lift up, and turn from the waist, exhale. And release. Okay, it doesn't have to be for long, just a few breaths. 3, 4, 5 breaths, and release. Then we're going to just, before we come out of that, we're going to go forward, but we're just going to be soft. So keeping the tailbone down, keeping the breastbone lifted, and then release the head down, and just arms soft, shoulders soft, neck and throat soft. Just breathing there for a little while. About half a minute. Okay? And then some of you will find that a little bit low, so you can use your extra brick. Okay? And if you find that again still too low, just bring your chair in and rest your forehead on the chair like you did before. Okay, so then we stretch the legs out like that. And then we do the other side. So now I'm going to just roll from behind the knee there, roll that calf out, so left foot in front, and just make sure I'm right on the buttock bones. Interlock the fingers. When we interlock the fingers, we always tend to do one way particularly. I always do the right hand on the bottom, most people do I think. Then change to the left little fingers on the bottom, turn the palms out, inhale, arms up, so buttock bones down, palms up, back ribs in, breathing there, draw those elbows in, and inhale, exhale down. And then same again, hand behind you, again, don't turn from the pelvis, turn from the waist, this hand here, inhale, lift up out of the waist, exhale, turn. Let that armpit release forward. Just 3 or 4 breaths there. And release. I'm going a little bit faster, you can just slow down because I'm talking in between. And then other hand behind. That hand to the knee. Inhale, lift up. And exhale. Again, twist from the waist, not from the pelvis. Breathing there. And release. And then again, getting your head support, whether it's the chair, a brick or 2 bricks. So tailbone down, breastbone up, and head down, and relax and soften. And up you come. Okay. So then stretch the legs out. Okay. We're going to do one more forward bend now. It's called Paschimottanasana. I've always liked the name of that pose. So some of you will find it a bit difficult in this pose, so I'm going to use the chair again as well, so I'll have that ready. Okay, but basically legs are hip width apart, and you press the whole leg down into the ground. Don't press the knees down because the knees are very delicate and you need to work from the thigh bones and the calves. Don't push from the knees. Okay, there's not a lot of protection on those knees and you need to look after them. So buttock bones down, tailbone down, so not tipping, pelvis not tipping forward, pelvis tipping back of anything, tailbone down. You're going to take a belt if you can't reach your feet, like so. Take a belt or a strap and lift up nice and tall first of all. So tailbone down, hip bones up at the front, breastbone up, back ribs in, and then take the head right back. It's really good for the back of the neck, as far as you can go. Keep the breastbone lifting, and then as you come forward, breastbone's lifting, tailbone down, and then bring your head down to your support. Let the forehead rest on it, thighs down, calves down, and resting there. So just staying in this pose for at least a minute, 2 preferably, 5 if you can do it. 10 would be fabulous. So if that's too much, I'm just staying there breathing. If that's too much, you use your chair. Same thing. You still want to actually hold on to your chair, lift up from using the chair to lift up, take your neck back, and then breastbone up, tailbone down, and forehead resting. You can rest your arms up on the chair, keep those thighs down, the calves down, then soften the neck, soften the throat, relax the shoulders, but keep those legs working. And press the legs down and up you come. Okay, and then just move yourself back. So they're the forward bends that with a little bit of a twist, but they also calm the mind. That pressure on the forehead calms the mind. The chest being forward, so the heart parallel to the floor, rests the heart, and also opens up all the back ribs and the kidneys and the liver, and just releases all that area. So if there's any tension there, that also gets released. It's also good for the nervous system, forward bends, because it quietens the mind and quietens the heart. The whole system just gets a little bit of a rest. So from there, because forward bends do a lot of good things like that, but they also can make some people's back a little bit sore. So we're just going to do a bit of a twist. Now I use a brick to sit on. So I'm just going to put the brick there. You can use cushions. You need something firm, so probably use a blanket or some towels, whatever height you need. I use a brick because it's quite a nice height, and you're just going to sit your buttock on it and have your legs forward like so. Okay? Buttocks on the brick or your blanket or a folded towel, whatever height you need to try and bring your hips, or they don't have to be totally parallel, but to bring them almost parallel. So this foot just comes back here, just relaxed. This is in a straight line in line with your brick or your blanket, and then this leg just rests on top. Okay, so the foot just rests in the arch of the other foot. So I'm going to use my other brick as well to put just behind me here. So we want this hip, where the hip on the outside, I call that the outside, this is the inside, to the hip closest to the feet, put it that way. So the right hip, hold that down, that wants to stay there. I'm going to inhale, lift up through the breastbone, again turning from the waist, not the pelvis. Inhale and exhale, turn to the side. This armpit opens up. And then once this stays down, you can then release the hand forward. And just breathing there. So don't force it, don't push it, let the head just turn gently. Again, it's a twist, which can be stimulating, but it's also a release from the back bends. So that's all this area now, just soften and release. So just letting the stretch be there, just staying with the breath. So once you've turned, you don't need to push. You don't need to push at all in any of this. Just letting the pose do what it can. The pose will do the work for you. You just have to let yourself be in it. And release. And we're going to do the other side. So I'll take that brick, and then I'm going to put my buttock and my thigh in line again with that. This foot's just relaxing, and then this one on top. This brick behind me. So same thing again. Keep this hip down, so the hips are facing forward. We're going to turn from the waist. So inhale, lift up from the chest, buttock bones down, hip this hip down. Inhale, exhale. Just gently turn. You don't really need to turn very much. Head gently turns, this armpit is open so that shoulder blade is moving down. And then once this hip's firmly down, you can just bring the hand across. You can turn to the back of the hand if you wish. Breathing there. Again, don't push. Just being in the pose. Breathing. Up to half a minute, I'd say, on each side. A bit more if you can, but at least a half a minute, and then release. Okay, so that's just releasing from the back bend a little bit. Okay, now we're going to do two versions of the next pose, so the bundle. One is a more active version, and then the last one is the totally restorative version. Okay, so we're just going to take a brick, one brick. Actually, you can take two if you like. Some people might want to do that. So just lying on your back, just going to push that chair a little bit. Lying on your back. Just there. Take your brick. So I just use one brick and do it that way. Okay. Some of you might need less height than that actually, less height. So you might want to do it that way. Okay, it's up to you, but the main thing is that you get it on the tailbone. So you lift it, come up onto your toes, lift your hip bones up, shoulders on the floor, and put that brick right on the tailbone. So not in the lower back and not on the buttocks, right on the tailbone. Okay, and you'll feel that it's supported. You'll know when it's in the right place because you'll feel solid, you'll feel supported. The shoulders relax, and then you extend the legs out one at a time. You can hold on to your brick while you do that. Just extend the legs out. Extend through to your heels. So you want this whole area here, the front groins to open up, excuse me, while I just adjust my pants. So you want this whole front area to open up, so extend through the heels. You can either leave your arms to the side, just let the shoulders relax, or if you want a little bit extra stretch at this point, you can just stretch the arms over the head and extend through to the heels that way. Okay, and then when you bring the arms back, you don't need to stay in this pose very long, it's just a stretch on the back after the forward bends, just bending it back the other way. So bend the knees, feet flat to the floor, and then actually bring yourself right up onto your tip toes to release your brick. As you release the buttocks down, lengthen the buttocks away from the bottom ribs. And then just rest there, knees bent. Okay, we're going to just do a little bit of stretching to release the lower back again. So just grab a belt or your strap, okay, have it close by. So you're just going to take the right knee and squeeze it into the chest. Neck soft, throat soft, shoulders open. So don't do this. Okay, relaxing your shoulders down. And then we're going to take the belt or your strap around the ball of the foot, okay, arms straight, knees bent. Both knees are bent. And just let that right lower back area here under that buttock, just let that release down into the ground. But keep it long, so don't let that hip lift up. Keep it long and resting there. And then just gently take that thigh bone, take the front thigh back towards the front thigh. Sorry, the front thigh to the back thigh. Because I had my hand on it, sinking front thigh. Front thigh to back thigh. Don't use your knees again, don't come from the knees, come from the thigh bone. And then, if some of you that will be enough, then that's fine. That's a good stretch for the lower back to release it. And then extend through the other leg if you can, and again take that thigh bone down, so left thigh bone down toward the floor. And doesn't matter how high the leg is. I mean, if your leg's over here, that's fine. Doesn't matter. The leg needs, as long as the leg is straight and you're coming from the thigh bones and you're feeling a little bit of a stretch, that's all that matters, okay? There's no competition about how high the leg goes. So, and then when don't just bend that foot, bend that knee and release. You can give it one more squeeze actually. And down. And then the same on the other side. So extend through here, through the heel, squeeze the foot in. Just gives a bit extra stretch there, you don't have to do that. And then keeping this knee bent, and the ball of the foot again. Just shoulders relaxed, throat soft, arms straight, just resting there for a moment. Again, letting that whole area of the back on the left side down to the bottom, let that release down to the floor, and also the hip, the left hip away from the left side ribs. Just breathing there, and then press that front thigh toward the back thigh. Again, if that's enough for you, that's fine. That can be a really nice stretch into the buttock. And then, if you can, or you want to, your choice, take that thigh bone down to the floor. And just breathing there. Again, no competition. Doesn't matter how high the leg is, it just needs to be straight. And breathing there. When you're ready, bend that knee, a little stretch and release. Good. And just roll over to the right side and up you come. So your back should be fairly feeling okay by now if it wasn't. Now we're going to do the complete restorative pose of Setabandha. So that involves some cushions, as we did at the beginning of the session. So I'm going to bring them this way a bit actually. So this time, instead of the buttocks being here, the back here and the head here, we're going to have the buttocks here and the shoulders on the floor. So the only thing is you probably will need more length than that. So something to support the feet. Okay. So I'm just going to get on here so that my shoulders, these cushions are a bit wobbly, but that's okay once you're on them. So then I want to push back until my shoulders reach the ground. So I don't want my shoulder blades on the ground. The shoulder blades are lifting up, but the shoulder tips are on the ground. And then I just put my legs up on the bricks. Push them away a bit more. Okay. So shoulder tips to the floor, shoulder blades are lifting up. So it's almost like it's pushing the shoulder blades up and in, which then opens up the top chest, opens up the bottom and side ribs, open up, So the whole lung chest area is nice and open, arms to the side, palms up. Rest, relax. Close the eyes and just breathing there. Now this is for most people this is quite a comfortable pose. Setabandha Savangasana, and you can stay here for up to 10 minutes if you like. In fact, the longer you're here, the quieter again the mind will be, and the softer the breath will become. Because of all this opening here, it allows the breath to come right down into the bottom lung area and the bottom ribs, which often it doesn't do when we're stressed and hyper. So it allows the breath to come right down into the lower lungs, which again, when the breath is allowed to move and open freely like that, again it quietens the mind at the same time. Also in this position you're in a slightly inverted position, so the heart is getting a rest. The blood is pumping in a different direction. The legs are rested. The whole body is rested. And because the brain is lower than the heart, there's fresh blood coming into the brain, which is also refreshing. So afterwards you should feel relaxed and clear-minded. Hopefully. Well, I could stay here for quite a while, but I won't. So we're going to just bend the knees, feet flat to the floor, and then gently roll over to the right. Always roll to your right side. And don't just jump up. Okay? Just rest here for a few moments before you actually jump up again, and then gently and quietly come up. Okay, now there's one more pose we'll do before we finish off. This will again completely release the back if it's not already okay, but there's two versions you can do of it. One is this one with a chair, so if your back is really a little bit tetchy after that. I'm very particular about backs because I have issues myself, so I'm very aware of backs, and most people do have some issue at some point in their life. So what I'm going to do is put my buttocks on here and my legs up there, my calves up there. So first of all I'm going to get down here. It's easier if you just do this first and then put the cushions in afterwards. So otherwise you end up falling all over the place, speaking from experience. So I'm just going to wriggle in there. So my legs are on the chair, my buttocks are on the cushions. Just let the shoulders spread and flatten out. Again, make sure there's nothing in your way, so you can just let the arms relax. Palms facing upwards. When you turn the palms upwards, it draws the shoulder blades down again, opens up this whole top chest area and clavicle area, and the armpits open up. Then again the breath has that space, the throat can soften, so it's lying here. Just let yourself settle, let the abdomen soften, let the legs be relaxed. If you find this chair just supports my legs quite well, so I don't have to hold the legs, but if you find that you can't do that comfortably on the chair you're using, you can just take your belt again and just put the belt around the upper thigh. Don't have to have it tight, just enough that it holds. The legs don't need to be, thighs don't need to be completely together. Just so it holds the legs that you don't have to hold them, and that you can completely release and relax. So once you're in this pose, you just want to let the feet be soft. Soften the balls of the feet, the tops of the feet. Release your ankles. Soften the shin bones, let the calves just spread into the chair. Let the thigh bones release. Let the lower back completely soften into the support of the cushions. Release the hip joints. Soften your belly. Soften your front and side and back ribs. Release those shoulder blades. Soften the armpits. Let the arms be really soft. Let the muscles on the arms release away from the bones. Release the elbows, the wrists, soften the hands. Release the back of your neck, softening your throat, releasing the jaw, releasing the scalp. Let the forehead be smooth and soft, skin on the cheeks soft, lips gently closed, eyes softly closed. And just see if you can keep your attention, your awareness on your breath. No forcing, no controlling, just watching, just feeling that gentle rise and fall of the belly in the abdomen. Abdomen soft, belly gently falling, rising, falling, rising, falling. Stay here for up to 10 minutes or more if you need to. And again, when you finish, you'll roll to the right. Just one more variation for those of you who would like a little more stretch in the legs. You can do the same pose with the cushions under the buttocks, but have your legs up against the wall, so the legs will end up being perpendicular to the floor. Same thing, but straight legs. When you're ready, if you've got a belt on, just release that. Draw your knees in towards your chest. Roll to your right side again. And once again, don't jump up. Just rest there. And so, once you've slowly gotten up, I hope you feel rested. I certainly do. I felt quite quiet and calm and happy. So may you be happy, may you be well. Namaste.